Hello, my name is Ashley Huggins and I'm a student at Liberty University. Over the last few weeks, I've had the opportunity to conduct some research on Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Jean-Jacques Rousseau is a highly regarded naturalist philosopher. His written piece, The Social Contract, led to ideas of learner-centered environments, which has impacted education in the classroom today. Nature, man, and object mold the intuition of knowledge that is gained in a learner's physical environment by the lens of Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He believed political views should not interfere with the natural process to learning. But how did these concepts develop? Jean-Jacques Rousseau was born on June 28, 1712 in Geneva, Switzerland. Rousseau grew up with a rather unusual childhood with no formal education. His mother died shortly after childbirth, and Rousseau's father raised him until he was forced to leave Geneva to serve as an engraver. During the time his father was still present, Rousseau often did not play with kids. His father taught Rousseau how to read. Later, Rousseau was drawn to Roman and Greek literature. Later in life, Rousseau met the inspiration for his beliefs, Madame de Warens. She convinced him to change his Calvinistic views from being a Protestant throughout his childhood to Roman Catholic as an adult. Madame de Warens expressed her aspirations of human purity and gained thought through the Protestant pietists as a child. Rousseau developed the Romanticism idea, demonstrating the concept of free expression and a creative spirit as being more important than the abiding political laws. He also found the bearer of his 5 children, Thérèse. She was not educated, though Rousseau did try his best to help her. Unfortunately, he wasn't very successful. They gave their children up to an orphanage later on because Rousseau believed they could have a better opportunity to gain a quality education elsewhere better than he could provide. Rousseau wore many hats. He was a musician, a composer, an engraver, a music teacher, a French ambassador, and a writer. Rousseau became more noticed after his discourse on arts and sciences after it won an essay competition. Rousseau believed that was a turning point in his life. He wrote a second discourse called Émile, which was considered his principal writing as it focused on the nature of education and on the nature of man. However, his writings did not stop there. Rousseau was open about his religious and political views in all aspects of his writing and composed music. Rousseau believed that inequality was established when others began to compare abilities and achievements, which later led to culpable pride. The Social Contract and Émile were highly contradictory pieces that he wrote pertaining to the current views of the French society, so much that a warrant was out for his arrest, and he fled the country and went to Switzerland. Jean-Jacques Rousseau often kept to himself. Anytime Rousseau found himself in social settings, others would consider him to be hostile and lack respect. This was mostly brought on by himself because of his confessional beliefs brought on in his writing. For example, he stated in The Social Contract, "Man was born free, and everywhere he is in chains." This alluded to his perception of the corrupt society that everyone lives in. Rousseau's societal vision included 3 stages: the state of nature where man is free and independent, society in which man is exposed to is dependent on others, and when man becomes free through obligation. His perspective is that a child is essentially innocent, but his contract with society is what makes him corrupt. Rousseau's theory of education was a philosophy that opened the gate to a student-centered learning approach. When students investigate and study new subjects on their own, they take an active role in their own education and develop critical thinking skills. To learn, children must have the chance to develop and express their own thoughts. Based on their interest and involvement, this will improve students' drive to learn. Rousseau's educational theory heavily impacted the world of early childhood education with his naturalistic approach. Rousseau's theory focused on 3 stages within early childhood. These stages came about from his epistemological beliefs in his Emile publication. The first stage of sensational beliefs created the concept of sensory development. The second stage emphasized the transition of sensory to cultivate maturity by moral development. And the third stage emphasized cultivating intellectual qualities. By this stage, a child was able to make decisions for themselves. All these stages exercise the practical practice of freedom in nature. Though Jean-Jacques Rousseau wrote publications at the time that seemed controversial to his society, his stages of development are implemented throughout school systems today. Each stage is intended to bring about a characteristic that will lead children through life successfully. Rousseau's ideological approach to stages of education cater more toward the early childhood development. Rousseau saw a method to overcome what he believed to be corrupt societies. Jean-Jacques Rousseau contributed to an extraordinarily rich and problematic gift for coming generations with his influential writings. His upbringing led him to his theories by his informal educational background, conversion of religion, his own parent practices, and his political views. Rousseau's naturalistic approach to education provided a child-centered and freedom-filling approach. The development of critical thinkers can be achieved by a naturally free environment. Rousseau's foundation for early childhood education provided the free-spirited approach young children take part in today. If you would like to learn more about Jean-Jacques Rousseau following this topic, please visit some of the references that I have used. Thank you and have a blessed day.